Hello everyone. I don't know about you, but all this thinking and learning has made me feel quite hungry. Can you feel those stomach juices getting going? Not quite yet, I'm afraid. You've got me first. And one of the things I've learnt about myself this morning too is that I can sing. I don't know that the people sitting around me in church on Sunday morning would necessarily agree. But volunteering. I'm director of a local charity that we support strong communities in helping individuals to fulfil their potential. And volunteers are a vital part of our work. But why is volunteering so important? You've probably heard that old cliche, if you want a job doing, ask a busy person. And on that basis, I would imagine that many of us here today already volunteer. And at risk of putting you in the spot for a moment, I want to try and test that theory out. So in a minute, just give you a chance to think about this, I'm going to ask you to stick your hand up if you currently volunteer, do some form of regular volunteering work. Say, for example, an average of 2 hours per month, something like that. And if you don't want to be put on the spot and don't want to see other people to see whether you've stuck your hand up or not, perhaps you can be like my son, who thinks that if he closes his eyes, no one else can see him. So, with that health warning, close your eyes if you want to, but could you stick your hand up if you do regular volunteering at the moment of some form or other? Oh, a number of you. Perhaps I thought there'd be more. What about in the last, keep your hands up if you do that. What about people in the last 2 or 3 years who perhaps haven't recently? Okay, thank you. So, kind of hard to judge there. The Jonathan Dimbleby approach would say kind of 50% maybe in the last 2 or 3 years. Why do we volunteer then if we do? Perhaps it is that a sick relative or friend has been supported by a local charity, and in some way we want to repay the debt of gratitude that we feel perhaps we owe them. Maybe we just feel we have fortunate lives and want to give something back. Perhaps we act from a faith or humanist motivation to give service to others. All these and many more are valid reasons for volunteering. But I want to suggest that volunteering at its best is also about 2 other things. Firstly, volunteering should be about a reciprocal relationship, that it gives back to us at least as much as we are able to give to those that we support. So, for example, it could be that we learn a new skill or simply broaden our life experience. It may simply be an acknowledgement in an honest way of our need to be needed. We all need to be needed. Of course, volunteering also, studies show that it improves our mental health and well-being, and that it can reduce our social isolation. And I think at its most fundamental too, simple yet profound, being alongside someone in need helps connect us in their vulnerability in a very deep way and reminds us of our connections as human beings. It connects us as part of our common humanity. And that leads me to the second reason that I think is so important in volunteering. And that's that volunteering helps connect us locally with our community as part of supporting and sustaining a healthy neighbourhood. Local volunteering is a crucial part of that glue that holds us together as a society. The current jargon and word is social capital, but I think glue and that kind of warp and weft, if you like, the tapestry, the threads of that tapestry that knit us together as human beings and as a local community. Oh, I could get all poetic about this. But I think that's why the long working hours culture, and if you like, the individualization, the kind of quasi-privatization of so much of our public or community life is potentially so damaging. So if you're already a volunteer, perhaps you might want to reflect a little bit more on why you do, and maybe to review your volunteering. And the connection stall at lunch that perhaps you've seen already at coffee too, hopefully would give you lots of ideas for local opportunities to volunteer. And if you don't already volunteer, why not? Try it. Again, I urge you to take a look at the opportunities that are around. All of us in our lives, at tough times in our lives, will know the importance of social connections to get us through those times. We've all, I'm sure, experienced bereavement, perhaps unemployment, maybe poor mental health or physical health. And of course, what keeps us going through those tough times is the connections we have in our lives. And one of, I think, the great ironies of life is that for people who are most vulnerable, they often lack those strong family ties and local neighbourhood connections. And that, of course, is where volunteering is so important. So to finish, I want to say, volunteering at its best is a reciprocal relationship, and it connects us locally as building a healthy and sustainable community. It also, I would add, comes with a health warning. It could change your life for good. Thank you. Enjoy lunch.